Good day and God bless you. Welcome to the Bible reading in chronological order. Just such a privilege to have you with us, and we just want to thank the Lord that you have joined us and participating with us in this venture. I pray that the overview and the reading of the Word of the Lord would be a blessing to you today, and that we would glean so much more from the Word of the Lord even as we go through it together. Today we're busy in the book of Ecclesiastes, and we're going to look a little bit at an overview of the book. Now, this book opens up with the phrase, the words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. So we presume that it is written by King Solomon, and a good presumption actually, because it talks a lot about the wisdoms that he has. You'll see a lot of the phrases within the book of Ecclesiastes is actually replicated from the book of the Proverbs as well. Now, this is not confirmed anywhere in the book that it is Solomon, but it is left sort of open-ended so that we can understand that it is given to us by another son of David, the one that would reign forever upon the throne of David, the Messiah. Now, this book was written in approximately 977 BC, and this book forms part of the wisdom literature or the books of poetry in the Old Testament. The theme of the book is very strange though. In English, the theme is spoken of as vanity of vanities, all is vanity. But in the Hebrew, the word used is haval, which is more like a vapor or a smoke. And the word is used 38 times in the book. Now we're going to go through that a little bit as we go into chapter 1. And in chapter 1, we see the preacher addresses us and teaches us that everything on the earth is vanity. Now, what is vanity? We can look at it in the English term and we can see vanity is like loving yourself or looking for the things of yourself. Vanity can also be interpreted as futility, something that is perishable, something that will die off. But as we've seen, haval in the Hebrew can be translated as a vapor or a smoke. And so we see that there's attributes of this word. When you try to look at smoke, smoke looks very tangible and you want to grab hold of it, but you can't grab hold of it because it disappears in your hand. Now, the two attributes that we see from this word then is everything is futile and temporary, yes, but it is also a paradox or an enigma. As much as you've tried to make sense of these things and as much as we can derive from certain things, yet it doesn't always work out the way we think it's going to. And the moment you try and grab hold of beauty and of pleasures of life, these things sort of disappear right in front of you. And there's two verses that I wanted to look at, specifically verses 17 and 18 in chapter 1. And it says, "And I give my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit, for in much wisdom is much grief. And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow." And so you see then that this word of the preacher is coming to us and it's saying that in as much as you want to know, and it's not wrong to know, it's not wrong to have wisdom, it's right to have wisdom. But in that, we tend to understand more of the grief that exists in this fallen state of humankind. He then goes on to talk about that there's nothing new under the sun and everything will be as it once was, and the influence and the work of man will soon be forgotten. Therefore, it is like smoke. It appears solid and tangible, but you can never hold on to it. Then we get to chapter 2, and the preacher tells us of the vanity of human courses or desires that are fulfilled. He tells us of the cheerful use of what a man has, and he says that whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. The preacher takes on a very melancholic approach to life and the fruits of his labor, in that he is wary to leave it to the next generation that may be foolish and not understand the labor it took to acquire these things. He is nervous that all the stuff that he has put wisdom to and he has put understanding to and really worked to get hold of, now the next generation might squander because they do not understand what it takes to achieve all of these things. And then we get to chapter 3, and we see that this is the most iconic chapter in the book of Ecclesiastes, and probably one of the most recognizable passages in the entire Bible. So I don't want to focus too much on that, but enjoy it even as you go through it and pick up the pieces even as you go through it. Verse 1 tells us, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And then we see in verse 13 it says, and also that every man should eat, drink, and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. And so he is now relating it to, even though he's talking about the futility of man and the vapor, the smoke that is going up, but now he's bringing in the aspect that when we come to the Lord gives us these good gifts to enjoy. Then we get to chapter 4. We learn that vanity increases to men by oppression, by envy, by idleness, by covetousness, by solitariness, and by willfulness. And in verse 12 of chapter 4 it says, and if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. I love that verse because it always reminds me of that unity that you have with your spouse or with a brother or with a dear friend, but that if the Lord is there with you, that threefold cord is not easily broken. Then we get to chapter 5, and the preacher talks about the vanities in our worship to God and how we need to listen and not just speak or offer sacrifices without knowledge of the Lord and who He is. He calls for us to just fear the Lord. He then speaks about the vanity in riches, and then he gives us a lesson that we need to live contentedly, and this is a gift of God. Every time I read this chapter, I think about that Pharisee that stands in the marketplace and he prays aloud. He is bringing attention to himself in his worship to God, and this is what the preacher is saying is absolute vanity. We need to come to the Lord in sincerity, in humility, and this then gives us that ability to come to God and to hear what He has to say for us. And then finally today we get to chapter 6, and this chapter is a great challenge in that the preacher shows the vanity in having riches without use and to have long life without good. He continues in this manner, bringing to light all unrealized potential. And it is so important that we don't waste the potential that the Lord has given us, that we don't waste the gifts that He has given us in order to fulfill our ministry to Him and our ministry to this dying world. I'm going to leave it there for today. I pray that the Lord would bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you. May He give you peace. God bless you as you enjoy the reading of the Word today.
Ecclesiastes, or the Preacher, Chapter 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. And I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I communed with mine own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceived that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Chapter 2. I said in mine heart, Go to now, I will prove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure. And behold, this also is vanity. I said of laughter, It is mad, and of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. I made me great works. I builded me houses, I planted me vineyards, I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kind of fruits. I made me pools of water, the water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and a peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great, and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor. And this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that cometh after the king? Even that which hath been already done. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I myself perceived also that one event happeneth to them all. Then said I in my heart, As it happeneth to the fool, so it happeneth even to me. And why was I then more wise? Then I said in my heart, that this also is vanity. For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall all be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man? As the fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me, for all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom, and in knowledge, and in equity. Yet to a man that hath not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity, and a great evil. For what hath man of all his labor, and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw, that it was from the hand of God. For who can eat, or who else can hasten hereunto more than I? For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he giveth travail to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit. Chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, that men should fear before him. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And God requireth that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them. As the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast. For all is vanity. All go unto one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Chapter 4. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praised the dead which are already dead, more than the living which are yet alive. Yea, better is he than both they which hath not yet been, who hath not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Better is an handful with quietness than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there is not a second. Yea, he hath neither child nor brother. Yet is there no end of all his labor. Neither is his eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, for whom do I labor and bereave my soul of good? This is also vanity. Yea, it is a sore travail. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. Chapter 5. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God, for God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. For a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou shouldest not vow, than that thou shouldest vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, neither say thou before the angel that it was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at thy voice, and destroy the work of thine hands? For in the multitude of dreams and many words there are also divers vanities. But fear thou God. If thou seest the oppression of the poor, and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely, riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail. And he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand. As he came forth of his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and shall take nothing of his labor which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind? All his days also he eateth in darkness, and he hath much sorrow and wrath with his sickness. Behold that which I have seen. It is good and comely for one to eat and to drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. Chapter 6. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men. A man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul of all that he desireth. Yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. If a man beget 100 children, and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he. For he cometh in with vanity, and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor known anything. This hath more rest than the other. Yea, though he live 1,000 years, twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? For who knoweth what is good for man in this life? All the days of his vain life which he spendeth as a shadow. For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun?